Can you trust the companies auditing your smart contracts? Kraken just found out they can't. Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into this. TK, Nico, I heard you guys loud and clear. Let's go. We're going to do a shitcoining story. And this is actually pretty funny because, interestingly enough, I thought that, one of the few companies or the few types of companies that you could trust would be these companies doing audits and pen testing. But apparently, Certic has proved us wrong. Let's dive into it. So, never a dull moment in crypto, says Seth for privacy. Certic, a US-based auditing company, found a vulnerability in Kraken FX, stole $3 million using it instead of following VRP, refused to give it back, outed themselves publicly, sent the stolen funds to Tornado Cash, a sanctions violation. Certic. Maybe you're not going to make it. Anyways, all right. Okay, let's dive into the story as Certic sees it, and we're gonna get some interesting takes. Now, I do know a little bit about security audits. I know a little bit about penetration testing. This ought to be some fun. Let's dive into it. So, Certic recently identified a series of critical vulnerabilities in Kraken FX exchange, which could potentially lead to hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. So, we stole some for you. Starting from a finding in Kraken FX's deposit system, where it may fail to differentiate between different internal transfer statuses, we conducted a thorough investigation with 3 key questions. Number 1, can a malicious actor fabricate a deposit transaction to a Kraken account? Number 2, can a malicious actor withdraw fabricated funds? I want to know what the definition is of fabricated funds. Anyways, what risk, controls, and asset protection might be triggered by a large withdrawal request? According to our test results, the Kraken exchange failed all these tests, indicating that Kraken Defense in-depth system is compromised on multiple fronts. Millions of dollars can be deposited to any Kraken account. No alerts were triggered during the multi-day testing period. Kraken only responded and locked the test accounts days after we officially reported the incident. We informed Kraken, whose security team classified it as critical, the most serious classification level at Kraken. After initial successful conversions on identifying and fixing the vulnerability, Kraken's security operation team has threatened individual Certic employees to repay a mismatched amount of crypto in an unreasonable time, even without providing repayment addresses. So this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Having done pen testing and having done security audits, I can tell you, you don't actually have to steal the funds from the customer in order to prove that there is a bug. So, Certic, I know you're calling yourself white hat, but the fact that you actually stole the funds, that's the problem. You didn't have to actually steal them. That's fucking embarrassing. Following up on that, here we go. Fact of the white hat operation, okay? Millions of dollars of crypto were minted out of air. No real Kraken user assets were directly involved in our research activities. More severe security issue. For several days, with many fabricated tokens generated and withdrawn to valid cryptos, no risk control or prevention mechanisms were triggered until reported by Certic. The real question should be why Kraken's in-depth defense systems failed to detect so many test transactions. Continuous large withdrawals from different testing accounts was part of our testing. I don't think that's the real question. I think the real question is why you actually stole the funds. That's the real question. So I thought this was funny. This was an interesting response here. I guess somebody asked ChatGPT. So here we go. White hat hacking, did you say? So here we go. Is hacking a crypto exchange and withdrawing millions of dollars that you didn't deposit consistent with white hat hacking if you later inform the exchange? Apparently, ChatGPT doesn't feel the same way as CertiK. No, hacking a crypto exchange and withdrawing millions of dollars without authorization is not consistent with white hat hacking. Even if you later inform the exchange, white hat hacking, also known as ethical hacking, involves testing systems and identifying vulnerabilities with permission from the owner of the system, typically with the goal of helping to improve security. Unauthorized access and withdrawal of funds are illegal activities and are more consistent with black hat hacking, regardless of whether you inform the exchange afterwards. Legal and ethical white hat hackers operate within the bounds of the law and always with explicit permission. Wow. Yeah, I think this is just par for the course. This is just typical shitcoining. I mean, look, I don't know who at CertiK thought that they were doing the right thing. If you ask me, I think that somebody possibly found a vulnerability and then realized that they had to find a way out of them being incriminated after they moved those funds. So I believe that they tried to change the story. This is why you saw the multiple transactions occur, because I believe that they changed the story in order to fit the narrative. And this isn't unusual of human beings. We all, believe it or not, we all do this to a certain extent, okay? These are part of the blind spots that we have in our brains. More specifically, it has to do with the fact that we fool ourselves about our incentives or about our true intentions. So, meaning to say consciously, we will say that the security of the exchange was the intention for what we did, but deep inside, you really saw an opportunity to get funds for free. Anyways, look, I'm not saying that that is necessarily what happened. I'm just saying that is my opinion based on the events, because essentially the first test that they did, we should even back up. Was CertiK even hired by Kraken to do these tests? In all of the research that I've done, I can't find any definitive evidence where Kraken, number one, claims that they are paying for CertiK to do these audits. So I don't see any. I don't see any of that, and I also see no news indicating that there was ever an agreement to do this. So this unfortunately makes it kind of a black and white issue. Like there is no gray area in this. It really does seem like CertiK absolutely screwed up and is attempting to backpedal. All right, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Again, thank you so much, Nico and TK. I really appreciate you guys tagging us in this, so that we can have our say. But yeah, look, this doesn't surprise me. Shitcoiny things. Look, it's the typical play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Guys, I am gonna catch you next week.